Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. I am Mr. Warren Hayes, and you are watching right now the Raw Recap Review Show that I do here on the Mr. Warren Hayes Show, which you can find on YouTube at tinyurl.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. This is where you're at. This is what you're looking at. This is what you were looking for even. I don't know. I'm not in your head, but the point is that I'm happy that you've decided to press play on your video device application thing and watch the video. We're going to be talking about WWE Monday Night Raw, which took place on the 1st of October, 2018, which was yesterday because this video is being aired for the first time on October 2nd, 2018. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. It's been quite an episode of Raw. Would you not say? You know, I think it's an episode of Raw where here, let me put this in context. I was chatting with a few fellow wrestling pals, friends, some communicators, some people who do the wrestling online commentary thing, particularly Anthony from the Smart to Death podcast. I was chatting with him, and I'm okay with name dropping, by the way. I'm not above name dropping. What, you think I'm secure enough in what I do here to not name drop? Oh, you don't know me that well. So I was and Anthony was not watching Raw, and he texted and he wrote and he said, am I missing anything good? And I said, well, if you're a fan of The Shield, yeah, you're missing out. If not, a lot of heat and storylining for The Shield. Very middling heat for the rest of the card, but you can sense that they're developing things. But yeah, maybe getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about things coming up from me over the next couple of days, because there's quite a few. It's going to be a busy week for your boy Warren. Tomorrow, as usual, on Wednesday, you're going to get always, if you're watching this video on launch day, right? If you're on October 2nd. October 3rd on Wednesday, it's going to be my SmackDown Live review. I do that every week. Then in the evening, I'm going to do my 205 Live NXT Mae Young Classic recap over on FightfulSelect.com. Now, perhaps you have heard of Fightful.com, especially if you listen to what I do on a weekly basis. Then right now you're going, oh my God, he's going to talk about Fightful.com again. But yes, I'm going to talk about it again. I'm going to talk about Fightful.com, premier combat sports news site, pro wrestling, MMA, boxing. It's all there. You go to FightfulWrestling.com. You get all your pro wrestling news there. Scoops, exclusives, interviews. You get it all there. But then if you want more of that delicious, scrumptious, melt in your mouth wrestling content, you go over to FightfulSelect.com. FightfulSelect.com is Fightful.com's premium service. Extra content, nothing gated. You still have all your wonderful stuff that you got on Fightful.com, but FightfulSelect.com gives you more. You get a ton, like literally a ton of members-only podcasts. These podcasts, folks, I am not making this up. They have been weighed. How do you weigh a podcast? I'm glad you ask. I don't have an answer for it. I'm no scientist. But they have been weighed. They weigh a ton. That's how many podcasts you get when you sign up to FightfulSelect.com. What kind of podcast, though? Well, you get Sean Ross Sapp, managing editor of FightfulSelect.com. He puts out the Weekender podcast. He does that every week. Covers non-WWE shows like Lucha Underground, like Ring of Honor, like New Japan, like Impact. He also talks about being the elite, 12 pounds of gold. He goes through injury reports. He goes through news. He all does that in an hour. He does that every day. You get Q&A sessions. You get, like I said, my own 205 Live NXT Mae Young Classic recap. I've been doing those. You get a monthly retro pay-per-view review. And I did one with just recently been released. Recent release. The ACW One Night Stand 2006 did that with Sean and a FightfulSelect.com supporter, one of the upper tiers, who cashed in his favors. I guess you can go take a look over on FightfulSelect.com and see all the wonderful perks you can get. But he used his perks to come do a review with Sean and I, and he picked ECW One Night Stand 2006. Fantastic show. It was a lot of fun to review. It was a lot of fun to talk about. Turned out to be a pretty good show. So you should go check that out on FightfulSelect.com. Dark match commentary. There's news previews. There's, oh man, it's just so exhausting talking about all the content. The fantastic, delicious content you get over on FightfulSelect.com. Go check it out. You can start supporting the site just as low. It's $5 a month. So go check it out. It's actually really cool. I sometimes my enthusiasm may come across as insincere, but no, not in this case. I'm proud to be a part of that service, and I'm proud to contribute because it is quality. It's great stuff. Sean puts together an amazing package for folks. You should go take advantage of that. It's only $5 a month. A month. You know what else is $5? Friggin' Big Mac combo is $5. A Big Mac. You're gonna eat that and feel full for like 10 minutes. And then after you'll be like, oh, man, I need something else to eat. So then you're plunking down more cash and you're not satisfied. But if you put down $5 at FightfulSelect.com, just $5, you will have your level. You will reach levels of satisfaction, blissful saturation as far as wrestling content goes. This is probably the best pitch I have ever done. FightfulSelect.com. I think I'm going to send this one to Sean. Look at this, man. You should put me on the highlight reel. So go check that out. I'm talking about FightfulSelect.com because I'm going to be doing, like I do every week, my NXT 205 Live Mae Young Classic recap. And by the way, I do those live. So if you're a member, you can jump into the chat. I do those live. I do them right after the Mae Young Classic. And we can chat. You know, I do my shtick and I take a look over at the chat and I'm like, yeah, you're right about this. Or no, you're wrong. Then I ban you. I don't ban anyone. Everyone is very civil and cool. It's a great place. You should check that out. I am already out of breath. And then on Friday, I think I wrote Thursday here, but no, it's on Friday. So we'll just take the Thursday away here. But on Friday, hey, it's pay-per-view week. Super Showdown, Australia, Saturday. On Friday, I will be releasing my Super Showdown predictions, and I'm going to be joined by Chris Pizak of the Speeds and the Benchmark Show. Fantastic podcast out of Austin, Texas. Austin, Texas? Or at least Texas. I wouldn't want to... I think it's Austin. But fantastic show, fantastic guys. Chris, one of the co-hosts, is going to be joining me. We're going to be doing tandem style. But we are going to do it together. It's going to be fantastic. Chris is a great guy. He's a lot of fun to talk with. Looking forward to it. So that'll be on Friday. And then Saturday, over on Fightful.com, not Fightful Select, Fightful.com, I will be joining Sean Ross Sapp for the post pay-per-view recap of the Super Showdown around 9 a.m. Eastern time on Saturday. Yeah. Yes. Sean told me that he was going to be waking up at 5 a.m. to do it. And I was like, dude, you can't do this alone. I'm going to be your support. I'm going to back you up, bro. We're going to do this together, bro. You and me both, bro. All right, bro. That's exactly how I talk to Sean all the time. That's how I talk to everyone, to be perfectly honest. That's how I talk. That's how I talk to my mom. I give her a call and say, "How you doing, bro?" She says, "Who's this?" It's your son, bro. That's how I roll. That's how we do things here in my province of Quebec, Canada. We had elections today, by the way. Provincial elections to elect our new prime minister. I lost my elections hardcore. That's all I'm going to say about that. Because we're talking about wrestling, not politics. Especially not provincial politics. French-Canadian provincial politics. Doesn't interest anyone. Barely interests French Canadians. Don't see why it interests most of you. So, let's run this down again. One last time for this week. This is before we go on. Wednesday, the 3rd. SmackDown Live recap. That usually appears late morning, early afternoon. In the evening, right after the Mae Young Classic on FightfulSelect.com. Please come and join me for my 205 Live NXT Mae Young Classic recap show. Friday is going to be my prediction show for the Australian Super Showdown. And I will be joined by Chris Spizak and the post pay-per-view recap on Saturday itself around 9 a.m. right after the Super Showdown over on Fightful.com, where I will be joining Sean Ross Sapp to give color commentary. I don't know why I did the air quotes. Bold tweets, everyone. It's time for bold tweets every day. Not every day. Every show, every day that there is a WWE main roster show. I head to the Twitters and I ask my timeline to give me their boldest predictions for the evening. And I always like to share a few of them right here with y'all. That wasn't it. That was something I did last week. Let's not dwell on that, shall we? Here are the tweets. We're gonna start with the chairman, former contributor to the bold tweets segment. Chairman this week says Kurt Hawkins wins a match against Roman Reigns for the Universal Champion. You know, week after week, people want to see Kurt Hawkins win a match, and this bold tweet appears in various forms. This week it was to take the title off of Roman. That's a bold tweet. That's a bold prediction. Mike says Michael Cole refuses to acknowledge vintage Shawn Michaels when he is thrown off by a lack of ponytail. That is extremely bold and is probably something that could happen because Shawn Michaels doesn't have a ponytail anymore. So how do you know it's really Shawn Michaels? Good, bold prediction. Joshua Anderson, who again, another contributor to the bold tweet segment. Undertaker says he's going to face Triple H as Mean Mark, and Kane will transform into the Christmas creature. That's bold because it's never gonna happen. Mike again, who had two very good contributions I found this time around. He says Chad Gable finds out Bobby Roode is his father, and at Survivor Series, American Alpha reunites against the new stable if Roode and Angle, known as DNA, Dad's not aware. You know, it feels bold now, but it to me, there's a certain era in WWE wrestling where this would have been absolutely perfect. Dad's not aware. That's really cool. Outside Connecticut, my buddy Dennis. Do you know about his podcast, Outside Connecticut? You should look that up over on YouTube or follow him on Twitter at Pop Culture Rad. Cool guy, great show. He has a beard. Cody Rhodes appears, challenges everyone for their belts and wins them all. This is now Cody Rhodes' world, and we're just living in it. And The Undertaker will announce that it wasn't him that retired last year, but his twin brother, The Undertaker. Two very bold tweets, but especially the first one kind of made me wonder that, because unless you don't know, Cody Rhodes last night, and not last night, but on Sunday night at Fighting Spirit Unleashed, the New Japan pay-per-view that was in California, Cody Rhodes won the U.S. title. He's currently he's currently the NWA champion. Does he hold the title in Ring of Honor? I don't follow Ring of Honor. I don't know. But so he won the New Japan U.S. title, and then at the end he went and challenged Kenny Omega to make his planned match at the next pay-per-view, which is this weekend, Kings of Wrestling. He challenged Kenny to make his championship match against Kota Ibushi a triple threat, so he's inserting himself into the main event for the IWGP Championship title. I'm like, ah! So why couldn't he come out here tonight and win the IC title, the Universal title, and all the titles? Give them all to him. And finally, our final super bold prediction. Everyone on the roster is given a pet, ranging from goldfish to Siberian tigers. They are responsible for caring and training their pets. Of course, they must bring their pets to the ring with them as managers, which is kind of like in Warcraft, right? I like this. Warcraft or Pokemon, when you have a partner Pokemon. I want my partner Pokemon to be Alicia Fox. I just want her to follow me everywhere and get into fights when I ask her to. That's all I really want. Let's talk about the show now. There's a lot of things we've been discussing up to this point, but not exactly Monday Night Raw. And I've got about just a little over 40 minutes to do it. Whoo, boy. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been keeping my podcast times like around an hour. An hour, 4 minutes, an hour, 2 minutes. I'm pretty happy with myself. Because I especially when I started, I had a tendency to really drone off. But I'm improving, right? You know, when you work hard enough at your craft, you'll be all right. WWE Raw starts with Dean Ambrose coming out to the ring. My monitor's really loud. Let me put that down a bit. There we go. Charlie Caruso's there, and she asks him if there's any truth to the fact, to the rumors that everyone is saying that he's unhappy in the Shield, and Dean is very, very cagey, very evasive, very defensive in his responses. You know, he's saying, have I ever thought of leaving the Shield? Yeah, maybe. Maybe I did. Maybe I ran Roman off the road in his car and he won't be here tonight. You don't know what's going on. So he's being very Dean Ambrose-y in a way, not being super precise as far as his answers go. Now, well, okay, we'll go through the segment and then I'll share you my thoughts. He basically says, I thought about going to SmackDown Live and doing my own thing here, but instead I decided to come here on Raw and clean up my brother's messes. And I'm like, he says the Shield is not a business, it's not a brand, it's a brotherhood, and we will always ride together in battle. And that brings out Baron Corbin. And he's, who basically comes out and, he says, oh, there's a bunch of whining. Dean wonders if he's salty because he can't put the Shield down. Then he offers Corbin offers Dean three options. He says, look, you want to be this way tonight? I'm going to give you three choices. You get to pick one of these three choices. Number one choice is fighting Seth Rollins for the IC title. Second choice is fighting Roman Reigns for the Universal title. Or you can fight big old Braun Strowman. This is up to you. You get to choose. Dean is like, well, I want to fight you, Corbino. What did he call him? He called him a big excuse for a substitute teacher, something like that. Is it because of the way he's dressed? Did Dean go to a school where teachers wore that type of uniform? Is it because of the way he's dressed or because he's actually substituting for Kurt Angle? I don't know, because he's so wacky. He's the lunatic fringe. You never know what he's up to. I'm actually making myself dizzy. So basically that's it. So he said, sets the match up, and then that's it. He says he wants to fight Corbin. So then Corbin says, well, look, I'll make it easy on you since you don't want to pick. I'll pick for you. And he picks Braun. So Braun comes out, and now we get the match. Now I didn't care much for the segment. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand why Dean came out and there were still questions regarding his loyalty to the Shield. It appeared to me that his loyalty was unquestioned. The last image that we had of the show last week was him doing the fist bump with the Shield guys. So I wasn't thinking about all of last week's intrigue where the heels were playing some psychological warfare on Dean. Everything felt resolved at the end. It was like, oh, okay, this was like a one show intrigue kind of thing just to build some hype, which I thought they were really successful at doing. And that was that. I didn't think about this at all for the rest of the week until they pulled Dean out, and it's like, "Oi, Dean! Oi, do you want to quit the Shield?" And I'm like, why is he quitting the Shield? And why is he being cagey? Now, if they had ended last week without Dean going back into the ring and staying between the Dogs of War and the Shield, then you're like, oh, okay. Now we've got a reason to watch next week. So it's, why dig up all the intrigue? It's like everybody's wondering, what are the rumors that you're thinking about leaving the Shield? What rumors? There was nothing on the show when the show ended that left me with any doubt as to whether Dean was sticking with the Shield or not. He went to his friends. They did the fist bump thing. Oh, okay, cool. They're all fine. Now it just felt contrived a little. Now it felt like they were trying to retcon. They were kind of like DC Comics, trying to retcon a whole bunch of history. Just, oh, never mind what happened last week at the end. No. Dean wasn't sure. He wasn't sure. Look at what happened. They even show footage of him doing the fist bump. It's like, what was that gesture all about? What do you mean what it was about? It wasn't. So now Ambrose is in the ring and is like, it could be this. It could be that. Oh, it really felt contrived. If they wanted to stretch this out for another week, they just had to leave Dean in the ring, outside of the ring last week, wondering where he should go. And it would have added even more gravitas to all of this. So I thought it was a weird segment to begin with, despite the fact that Dean Ambrose just showed us once again, or at least reminded us, how good of a promo he is. So smooth. He's natural. I like me Dean on the mic. But anyway, we move into our first match of the night, which is Dean Ambrose versus Braun Strowman. I am not a fan of Braun Strowman's offense. And I get it. I get it that at least, in WWE, in the WWE mindset, a heel doesn't have explosive, dynamic offense that will ignite the crowd. That's not what it's for. Heels are more plotting. They're calculated. They draw things out so that the babyface can, when the babyface gets his eventual comeback, people will rally behind it because there's action and it's becoming super dynamic. But the problem is that Braun is already a lumbering guy. So if you're telling him slow down, like, hey, and this is what I felt. I had problems with this match with the chin locks. So the chin locks come in, but this, I don't know if it's just me who's noticing this, who's been noticing this for the past couple of weeks, or if I've just started noticing it, I should say, or if it's a new trend that has been popping up. But there are so many chin locks so early on in WWE matches these days. Rest holds. Like really, really early on, like 2 minutes in. And I understand, there's the commercials that they have to deal with, but there were a lot of rest holds here. Dean at some point, he, as commentary says, he locks in the guillotine. Now the air quotes, I'm using them correctly. He didn't really lock that in. He just sort of climbed on Braun's chest, and he grabbed his neck, and it didn't look like a guillotine, didn't look locked in, and Braun seemed very much still in control. That was a bit weird. Dean eventually battles out of a chin lock with a thumb to the eye, and I like that. I'm okay with my heels being scrappy like this. He dodges a corner splash, drop kick. He drop kicks Strowman, and Strowman is down on one knee. Dean sneaks out of a power slam, gets dirty deeds, covers, and only gets 2. Braun Strowman's on the outside. Dean dives to the outside, drives him right into the steps as well. Back in the ring, Dean walks into a power slam, but literally walks into it. He's whoa! Yeah. I don't know. It's just it was the pacing of the match. It was the pacing that brought this out. Dean's on the outside, and here's another thing, right? Strowman runs him down on the outside at some point towards the end. He shoulder tackles him down. He doesn't do the train around the ring, that he'd do with Kevin Owens, because it's a face thing to do, right? But that was always so much fun, especially when he did it with Kevin Owens, because Owens just sold it like a prince every time. But it was kind of a treat to have Braun Strowman going around the ring. Then obviously we're not going to be seeing that for a while. He hits a power slam on Dean in the ring, then lifts him back up instead of going for the pin. And that cues Roman Reigns' music, who comes to the ring. Superman punches Braun for the DQ. So Dean Ambrose loses the match. Gets a big boot from Reigns. Then Seth comes out. Helps beat up. I was not impressed with this match. I just was not. Then Corbin comes out and says that this is not the Shield show. You could fool me. It's my show. So later on, we're going to have Seth versus Drew. We're going to have Seth versus Drew against each other. But right now, it's going to be Roman Reigns versus Dolph Ziggler. Then we go to commercial. Then we come back. And they're, Ziggler and Roman are in the ring. They're ready to go. Just before that, Seth is backstage and he goes to check on Dean, and Dean is kind of pissed, and Seth is like, "Yo, dude, what's up?" And Dean is like, "You know what's funny? I could have been I could be an Intercontinental Champion right now." Like, oh, okay, all right. The Shield pissing contest begins. Now we go back to the ring, and then Corbin comes out again, because they're setting up the match as a title match. The referee has the belt and he shows it and he lifts it above his head. Corbin comes out and says, No. This match is going to be non-title because, Roman, you're not going to have a chance to defend that title until Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia or whatever. Now, if I were Dolph Ziggler, I'd be like, what the actual hell? I would be more pissed than Roman Reigns. For some reason, Roman Reigns started, stomping his feet and being, me angry, me can't defend title. But in a pure logical sense, the man who should be mad is Dolph Ziggler, because Ziggler was put in this match to get a title shot, and they're taking it away from him. So why? And even if I were Ziggler, I'd be like, I'm out of here. Put in anyone else, but I am not putting my body on the line. We've got a pay-per-view in a week. Big match that I want to win. And you're giving me a title. You're taking a title shot away from me tonight? Nope. Then you go and you confront Baron Corbin backstage. It didn't make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense. Dolph goes right after Roman, though, when the bell rings. Bit of a back and forth until Dolph gets him down on the mat with a chin lock. I swear, at this point, I'm expecting a bear hug. I was expecting a bear hug. There's so many rest holds. I don't like bear hugs. If you're a long-time viewer of my short-term online video experience about talking about wrestling, you know that I am not privy to bear hugs. I think bear hugs are stupid in 2018. It always depends on the way they're executed, but if you do it old-fashioned territory days where you just pick up the other dude and you just squeeze them up against your chest, it doesn't work anymore. It's dumb. It's just stupid. I am not a fan. Not a fan at all. I'm not a fan of bear hugs, and I'm not a fan of butterfly locks. Put that in you. Make a list out of that. Add that in the Warren Hayes subreddit. There's no Warren Hayes subreddit yet. Dolph goes after Roman after a bit of back and forth. No, I said that. Roman powers out, but Ziggler takes him back down without releasing the chin lock, which I thought was pretty cool. He goes then for a dive and elbow, cover for two. He hits a sloppy famouser, again for two. Then we go into a sleeper hold by Dolph Ziggler. But Roman backs him into the corner, then gets some power offense in. And you know, here's the thing. Here's another thing. You know what makes Seth Rollins really, really fun to watch is that when he mounts his comeback, he gets fired up and he's explosive and he goes, you know. Roman, when he battles back, he'll use a power move and then it'll take him anywhere between 25 to 45 seconds before he actually does another move. So Roman's matches always feel slow. But it's not because he can't be explosive. It's for some reason he's more like, no, I'm gonna use my powerful offense to put this guy down, and it's so powerful that I can take my time to breathe and regain my composure instead of just going for it. And that's a problem I have with Roman's matches. That's my main issue. Is even when it's time for him to mount his comeback, he still manages to just like, there's no fire. I've talked about this before. I'm not going to get into it now. Reigns dodges a super kick. Superman punches Ziggler, covers him for two, but Zig reverses. Roman goes for the spear, and Ziggler reverses it into a sunset flip, gets the cover for two, but Ziggler doesn't escape a second spear, which Roman hits and wins. Fine, had a lot of heat from the audience. This match did. It was a fine match. It was a better match than Dean versus Braun, which was really plodding, but not by that much. And it was short, which is okay. Okay match overall. Crowd was into it, and I guess that's all that matters. Next, we had Ronda Rousey, another marquee match for the evening. Ronda Rousey versus Ruby Riott. We get a corny iPhone promo from the Riott squad to begin with. And then when we're in the ring, where Ronda gets some judo throws in to start, Ronda drives Riott out of the ring. She comes back and knees Rousey just as she's coming back in, and that puts her in control for the better part of the match. Riott pulls Rousey. She pulls Rousey's elbow right into the post, which was really good looking. Then tosses her into the barricade. Ruby is bringing the competitive in this match. Like if you're gonna have Ronda have more matches with someone on the card right now on the roster with someone else on the Raw roster is what I'm trying to say. Ruby Riott all the way. Ruby was superb. She's driving her knee in the back of Ronda's head, grinding it into the mat. She hits an STO, which was really cool. Nice bump there taken by Ronda. Riott, the Riott kick is stopped and reversed into an overhead suplex, kind of like an angle slam. She does a gut wrench slam on Riott that looked a little sloppy at first, but Ronda managed to keep it alive. Ends with a distraction by the Riott squad. Ruby rolls up for 2, but that's not enough. You get an angle slam, arm bar, tap. Ronda Rousey wins over Ruby Riott. This was a good match. This was good. Lots of great selling by Rousey. Can't say she didn't do her job here. But, you know, when you have a surefire, hot hand like Ruby Riott guiding you along, Ruby Riott, fantastic worker. Hope she gets the light of day soon, because that was good, and she has the potential to keep but elevating Rousey to some fantastic matches. This was just a taste. This is the kind of stuff that I want to see more of. Stuff that I don't want to see as much of anymore is Bobby Roode and Chad Gable against Connor of the Ascension. So we're back to this well again. The story here is that Bobby Roode wants to get revenge on Connor, who defeated Chad Gable last week. They toned down the nonsense, the Chad Gable fanboyism, which I appreciated. But man, Bobby Roode, as you know, he's heatless at this point. If the plan is to make him turn heel and get his heat back on Chad Gable, they need to do this soon. They have to start doing it against another competitor or other competitors than the Ascension. Although the Ascension dudes getting wins, looking pretty strong. I mean, the tag team division on Raw needs some legit tag teams. Let's do this. I mean, I guess maybe I'm being a little too rash here. I kind of want this story to progress, to go to another level now, and not just keep doing this this combination of stuff, which we saw not too recently with Naomi and the Iconics just a few weeks ago on SmackDown, where Naomi would lose against the Iconics systematically until Asuka came out to help. Now she's back to her winning ways. So, you know, if this is what you want to do here with Bobby Roode and Connor, or Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, but have them split up, let's get on with it. But then again, I feel like everyone's sort of benefiting. You know, when Bobby Roode started to mount his comeback, you know, he had his blockbuster, and people, it got a reaction. The crowd was pretty dead for most of the match, but that got a reaction. I guess they're doing something right. We had a moment of bliss where she recounted the time where she met her hero, Trish Stratus, when she was 7 years old. She was standing out in the cold with her autograph book, waiting for Trish Stratus to come out of the building so she could ambush her for an autograph. and she said, "I like this line. I like how they write for Alexa Bliss." She says, "I can't forget looking up at her wrinkly eyes, into her wrinkly eyes, and she says, 'My name is Alexa. Can I have your autograph?'" You know, implying that already back then Trish Stratus was very old. It says, And Trish Stratus, she burped at me and said, oh, sure, kid, it's $50. It was just short enough, just long enough. It was fine. Good little segment. Next, we get the B team versus the Revival. I don't understand what WWE wants with the Revival anymore. I don't understand. What was the point of setting up the Revival, having them beat Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley just 2 months ago, 3 months ago, maybe? And establishing them as credible, beating Roman Reigns and now not even being able to go over the B team, not even able to go over Ziggler and McIntyre, who aren't a real tag team. They're two single guys together. I don't know. And again, there wasn't much to this match, except for the ending where Dawson launches Wilder off the top rope, but Dallas lifts his legs, then rolls Wilder up for the pin. And then, why is the Revival jumping out to the B team? Because then every time, it really seems like every time they're about to give the Revival a bit of a push, they yank it back. I don't understand what they're doing. I honestly do not understand what they're doing. Dawson. So the B team wins the match. They're heading back up, but they get completely blindsided. But blindsided, as in getting hit by a snowplow from behind by the AOP, the Authors of Pain, who run in to beat the crap out of them right back into the ring. They're, of course, with Drake Maverick, who is wearing the skinniest of all the jeans. They hit the Super Collider on the B team. I am okay, A-okay with AOP making a mockery out of the B team. It will add a bit of balm on the very open wounds that I still have in regards to main roster booking. The Revival, if the AOP beat the shit out of the B team. Beat the shit. And then if Drew and Dolph hold on to the titles and they're supposed to be like these crazy masters of pro wrestling, and it's the AOP who get the best of them, I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. We go backstage and Dean is still in pain. He took a couple of bumps during the match and he's still my back. What a wuss. And then Roman arrives and wants to make sure that everything is okay. We don't know if you're being serious or not, Dean. Are you all right? And Dean is like, yeah, I'm fine. I could have put him away. I didn't need you guys. And then he tells Roman basically what he told Seth. He says, right now, I could be Universal Champion. Ooh. And then we cut to the Dogs of War, where Braun is basically saying, that Dean, he's a tough bastard. Maybe he'd fit right in with us. So there's too much exposition here to really take it seriously that Dean is going to dump the Shield guys, or at least soon. There's just too much exposition on the heel side for it to be credible. I like the little thing where Braun was like, the last thing we need here in our team is weak links, and he sort of looks at Dolph, who just lost his match, right? And he walks away, and then Dolph looks up at Drew's like, can you believe this guy? And Drew's like, piercing his soul with flaming eyes of rage, and is like, shape up, Dolph. And he walks away, and Dolph was like, I like this little segment. That was good. That leads us into the match of the night. Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins. Again, this match also became a non-title match. So if I were Drew, I would have done the exact same thing as Dolph. It was like, Where the is Corbin? Bring me Baron Corbin. It's time for me to have a chit chat. Why am I not getting an IC title shot? Seth and Drew get into striking early on. Seth dives onto Drew on the outside early enough in the match. Drew does a huge kick to Seth's midsection, who is doing an alley-oop, holding onto the top rope. He's to flip over Drew. He sort of telegraphed it, expecting Drew to run under. But Drew just like lifts his leg and hits him right in the midsection. And the midsection would come back. This injured midsection would come back to haunt him later in the match. So Drew's in control. Slams Rollins onto the apron on the outside, which is really cool. We're back from commercial hit. Seth hits his beautiful blockbuster. He's favoring his ribs. Rollins at some point is in an Alabama slam position, but he basically he hoists himself up right onto, just lifts himself up, hoists himself onto Drew's shoulders, then rolls him up for a pin, only for two. They get back up. Falcon Arrow! Only for two again this time. We get some top rope shenanigans, and Seth carries Drew across the ring. Not unimpressive in and about itself. Drew's not a cruiserweight. And he buckle bombs the hell out of Drew, kick to the face, and then Dolph's music hits. That distracts Seth long enough for Drew to hit the Claymore, and he wins. Then they go after Seth. Roman then comes down to help his Shield buddy out. Then Braun comes down to give the numbers advantage to the heels. Then Dean comes out with an axe handle and clears house. But then they all get knocked down by Braun. Seth tries to fight back, but the heels are too much for him. Same goes for Dean, who eats a Claymore kick. Braun power slams Roman. The heels stand tall at the end of this segment, which more than likely means a loss at the pay-per-view. But I'm not doing predictions today. I'm doing them later this week. You'll be able to see them on Friday, along with the man, the myth, the Texas man himself, Chris Spizak. That'll be fun. Elias is backstage with, I think, that, or maybe I skipped over it, the Susan B. Komen segment for breast cancer. No disrespect, absolutely not, to the ladies who were able to use the foundation to help them go through their battles with breast cancer. Ladies who were there are absolutely worthy of any appreciation and cheers and love that we can give them, because it's not an easy thing. The Komen Foundation, though, I mean, I invite you all to just head on over to the internet, open up a search tab, and look up the foundation. You tell me what you think about it. It's not the best look for WWE. Not, kind of some questionable practices. Then again, they have Mrs. Warrior there as well. So, talking about questionable practices. All right. Elias and Kevin Owens. All right. Elias does his song, and he's happy that KO is with him. And then Elias early on makes a reference to the fact that the Seattle Supersonics are not there anymore. There's no more basketball team in Seattle. Now, everyone was expecting some cheap heat here, right? That's what it's for. You make fun of the city's sports organization, and you know that helps the audience turn on you. But here, this struck a chord. This was primeval. Whatever Elias tapped into here, it was primeval. It's just the heat that he got. Neither he nor Kevin Owens were able to properly continue their promo. They were just completely overwhelmed by the crowd noise, and you could tell it was deafening. These people were having nothing to have with a pro wrestler in the ring making fun of a basketball team that was just moved to Oklahoma City. And Elias couldn't believe it. He was corpsing for the better part of this interview, of this promo. He was completely out of it. The guys tried to do their promo. God bless them for being professionals. They were trying to speak louder than the audience. They could not. They kept trying to talk about Cena, who wasn't there, but no one was paying attention. And both Kevin Owens and Elias just kept piling it on, making fun of Seattle, telling them to shut up. This was legendary. It was a legendary segment. It's just one of those things that you're like, what is happening? It was amazing. It was so bad or so good because I enjoyed this tremendously. Looking at these two guys being overwhelmed by the amount of crowd reaction, of hostility that they're getting. It was so good that it even threw Lio Rush off his game when he was coming out to try and hype up Bobby Lashley. Was like, no, he came out and the crowd was chanting Supersonics. He was trying to do his hype man thing. He couldn't hear himself. All he could hear was the crowd noise. Everyone was doing their damn best here. Anyway, finally we do get a match. Bobby Lashley does get properly introduced. And he and Kevin Owens go. Lashley uses power moves on KO to start. KO grounds him early on into a chin lock. But Lashley battles back, drives KO's head into every corner. Lashley hits a spinning power slam as well. KO drives Lashley into the ring post. Apparently, during the commercial, Kevin Owens was in control for most of it. Again, being in Canada, we don't get the picture-in-picture during the commercial. So for us, it's just beep. Pardon me. At some point, Lashley leapfrogs Owens, takes him down with the clothesline. He rushes KO in the corner, spears him. Oh, and by the way, Owens here was working his left arm, left shoulder. He was sort of, Lashley was sort of selling it. But then at some point, Lashley rushes KO in the corner, spears him, then tries to lift him, but can't pull off the suplex because of the injured shoulder. However, like 5 seconds earlier, he speared him nice and clean in the corner, though. That didn't seem to bother. Bobby Lashley's spine busters are a thing of beauty. On the outside, Elias tries to go after Lio Rush, who does his sneaky, dodgy stuff, which looks completely surreal, especially with such big guys. He's surrounded by really big guys. Elias is super tall. Lashley's super tall, and he's so diminutive compared to those dudes. So he tries to sneak away as much as he can, but Elias eventually grabs him in a half Nelson and starts ragdolling him. That distracts Lashley long enough for KO to roll him up and get the pin. Rush then tries to dive off the top rope as the heels are beating up on Lashley. Rush tries to save his man, but instead he gets an axe handle right to the head. Double axe handle right to the head by Elias. And the pop-up powerbomb by KO on Bobby Lashley. After to cement this post-beatdown. Next we get Bayley versus Alicia Fox. I love Alicia Fox. I don't know. I think if you find fault with Alicia Fox, you have tar in your soul. I'm kidding. You're entitled to not enjoy Alicia Fox. You're also entitled to not be my friend. So it's entirely up to you. No, I love her character work, and I think, you know what, she's been in WWE for close to 10 years, or has it been 10 years? She's had great matches. You have to go back and find some. I'm really, really glad they're giving her more and more room, even if it is just to put other talent over. She is so good. Her Northern Light suplex, we say it every time because she does it every match, but I mean, if it wasn't as beautiful as it is, then we wouldn't mention it. Her Northern Light suplex is one of the most beautiful Northern Light suplexes in all of wrestling. Her bridge is perfect, tiptoe perfect. Bayley did good too in this match. She did a nice basement drop kick at some point that got a fantastic, the best reaction from Finn Balor, who was like, oh, and he sort of like gave her a big thumbs up. That was hilarious. Bayley wins with the Bayley to belly. Obviously, this is setting up their match. I think it's tomorrow, right? Their match at the mixed match challenge, where Alicia Fox teams with Jinder Mahal and Bayley with Finn Balor. And I was thinking, and I tossed this out on Twitter. I feel like, well, since Sasha is injured, she hurt her arm, and she's out for, I don't know, for a little while, but they haven't mentioned anything about Evolution at this point. Excuse me. They haven't mentioned anything about Evolution. For those two, why not then give us Bayley versus Asuka 3? I would be super down for that. Bayley versus Asuka number 3. I would even be okay with Bayley getting a win. That'd be fantastic. Some of people always, talk about how great Bayley was in NXT, feud with Sasha and so. But her matches with Asuka, man, when she lost the belt to Asuka, and then when she tried to get it back, which turned out to be her swan song, her NXT swan song, those are fantastic fights. I'd be absolutely okay with a number 3 here. Main event segment. Hey, fans of the late 1990s wrestling, we've got ourselves Shawn Michaels in a main event segment. Not a match, a main event segment. Just like the good old days when everything was so great with wrestling in WWE. I'm actually going to... I'll talk about it another time. But yeah, I mean, this was a main event recap. Where Shawn was basically just recapping everything that happened over the past 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. How long they've been hyping this. But then it got interesting when Kane appeared in the ring, and then Undertaker appeared in the ring. And I gotta admit, I for my money, I'm okay with nostalgia acts, but I think this one's taken a little too much room, a little too much space on the card. I understand that they want to sell tickets in Australia. They want to make this a big deal to bring in John Cena and all that jazz. But this is taking up a little too much space, a little too much airspace, headspace for my own personal taste as far as nostalgia matches is going to go. But seeing Taker and Kane in the ring at the same time, Brothers of Destruction, full on spooky supernatural mode, I was like, yeah, this works, doesn't it? This works nice. This is nice. Then they start beating the hell out of Shawn Michaels, and Michaels is bumping. He's look at him go. You think this guy's dead, completely not crippled, but injured and unable to do anything. But look at him. Look at him taking the bumps tonight. Triple H comes in for the save, but they both get power bombed. And that's that. That's how this match, not this match, but this Raw ended. You know what? This is a bit of the kind of booking that I'm on the fence of. Because right now, if you're not in the upper tier, if you're not in this Shield angle, you're not getting any proper airtime. Your story's not getting any proper development. This is very reminiscent of 1990s booking. These kind of things that I really didn't like. And then the mid-card sort of middles around. Now, aside maybe from Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, where I'm very, very semi-exhausted of it, I find the women are completely neglected. But I also think that I'm interested to see where they're going with the tag team division, even though I find that they're being absolutely ridiculous with the Revival, tossing the B team to the AOP Wolves. I'm okay with. I mean, I'm interested to see where this goes. Maybe this is the AOP push that we've been wanting since their call up the night after WrestleMania. Better late than never in a certain way, I guess. But these matches lack heat. There's no reaction from the crowd. There's no visceral connection, because all of the real storylining, the focus is all on the Shield doing everything in creative's power to get Roman Reigns over. Yeah, we have to. The mid card needs some legs. This has to start being propped up. But I did not dislike this episode of Raw. I don't like the way it finished. I'm not a fan of main event segments. Never have been, never will be. But I thought the ring work was okay. Passable to okay. Not the worst. Definitely not the worst go-home show that we've seen in recent memory. As far as go-home shows go, this was pretty good. I'm okay with it. What did you guys think? Let me know. You know where you should let me know? On Twitter. Come find me on Twitter. Mr. Warren Hayes at twitter.com. And we can discuss, talk about it. You can also leave comments here on the video. Sure, why not? But Twitter is that's the ideal place to have good human connections and discussions with each other. And folks, you can also find me at tinyurl.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. Subscribe, share, give the thumbs up if you like this. And if you didn't, go right ahead and do the thumbs down. I'm entirely fine with that. That's your right. That's your privilege, actually, to be able to do that. So, but if you are seeing this for the first time, go ahead and subscribe. Subscriptions and stuff like that, they really do help. It's crazy cuckoo like that, but they do help. So there you go. Raw. Thanks, everyone, for joining me. Come back tomorrow for the SmackDown Live recap. It'll be my pleasure to go through that. Can't wait to see what's going to happen on the Blue brand. Thank you very much for watching this to the very end, everyone. And I'll see you next time.